and welcome to episode 50 of the Rhody Rumble podcast. Today we are joined by the newest University of Rhode Island Ram men's basketball player, Hutchinson. Was a 6'7" guard wing combo from Upper Marlboro, Maryland. So for those wondering at home where that is, that's Jeff Dowtin territory, former URI guard. He will be a freshman this upcoming fall. How are you today?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining me again. I know you had a couple of exams and you're finishing up high school right now, a couple of APs. I was just talking to my sister, who's a junior in high school. She was telling me she had I think a U.S. history or something this morning. But how's that going? How are you doing? Just wrapping everything up.
Well, it's kind of nerve-wracking being at the end of my senior year. It's been a definitely a long 4 years. I'm grateful for all of it. So I had my AP microeconomics exam earlier today. So yeah, that was my last AP exam.
Yeah, I got you. Well, best of luck with that. I know we're rooting for you, and again, we're pumped to have you in the fall. So just finish off strong. We're in the middle of finals week right now, so
yeah,
it's a bit of a grind. But I just got back from campus. I live off campus, but I was on campus for like maybe 4 or 5 hours working on an essay. So I get it. It's crazy. It's a little bit of a grind, but it's worth it in the end. So keep going with that. But just to jump into a little bit of your career, switch gears a little bit. Right off the bat, I think, Rhody fans want to know why URI.
First and foremost, me and my family, we're both my parents are ministers, so we're very religious. We're very involved with. I'm Christian, so I think that when I went there, the vibe that I got, it just felt like God was leading me in the right place. I love the coaches, Coach Miller, the coaching staff. They were excited about me. They're excited about what I can do and where they the path that they saw me going on. And that just, made me more excited to what I already knew about the coaching staff, what the different coaches already done in their past careers, doing research myself. I'm excited for the path of where the basketball program is going. And aside from that, the school is everything I could ask for, everything I could look for. In my family, we're high academic. Academics are definitely really important to us. So that was definitely something that excited us when a school like Rhode Island came and had interest in me. And aside from that, when I was on campus, when I took my official visit, the vibe that I got, the community vibe from everybody was really great. So I love all those aspects of it. I'm just really excited to get on campus.
Yeah, I think you really, hit the nail right there on a lot of different things. You talk about coaching and the way that the program is moving right now, obviously bringing in a new head coach with Archie Miller, and then, of course, academics and how important that is. I saw, of course, in your Twitter bio as well, you have your GPA and everything. And I think something that I've noticed about him as a coach is he's really looking to bring in individuals on the court that are talented, but also off the court, model students that are going to represent the program in a good way. So that's definitely good to see that the future of this program is heading in that direction. Staying on coaching for a minute, were you recruited by any coach specifically? I know he has a couple of new assistant coaches in Dwayne Woodward, Kenny Johnson. Any of those coaches recruit you, or was it directly Archie Miller that reached out to you and you took your visit?
So it was a bit of a combination. Coach Johnson, along with Coach Miller, had both kind of reached out. And, once I got on campus, being able to meet the entire coaching staff, meet with everybody was very excited. And like I said, I just like the atmosphere. I like the vibe. I like, everything. I'm not even totally sure how to totally express it, but Coach Miller, we knew about him a long time before this. We knew Coach Johnson a little bit before this too, and both their successes, and then along with the rest of the coaching staff. So, those two were really the main ones to answer your question.
Yeah, for sure. And he's talked about in the press conferences, or at least in the media, how important recruiting is going to be these next couple weeks as the roster continues to fill out. But now that you're officially a Rhode Island Ram, how excited are you, just about putting on the Keeney blue and, repping it for the first time in the Ryan Center? I'm sure on your visit, you got to see the Ryan Center a little bit. But this fall, what are you most excited about, I guess?
Um, I would say what I'm most excited about is kind of one. I mean, like you said, recruiting is very important. We still have the rest of the team to fill out. So I'm excited to meet the rest of my teammates. I'm excited to get to work with them. I already met one of the recruits that's coming in with me, Jeremy Fumina.
Yep.
So me and him have been going back and forth, and I'm really just excited to meet the rest of my teammates and get to work. And then you know, we plan on having a very successful year.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure you've come to realize again how loud the Ryan Center will get. Last season we didn't attract as many fans due to the success and performance, but especially at the start of the season when Archie Miller is officially sworn in as the new head coach, you know, you can expect the atmosphere to be a big factor, and I know you guys definitely feed off that energy. So, you talked a little bit. You kind of went off on my next question. I was going to ask, have you been in contact with some of the guys, but aside from Jeremy Fumina, have you been, I guess, like reaching out to any of the current players on the roster right now, or have you been in communication with any of them?
A little bit. A few of the guys are actually from the DMV area.
Yep.
So Ishmael, I already knew him a little bit beforehand. From when I played on Team Durant, he was on one of the older teams. Same thing with Abdou. So I kind of knew those two guys a little bit beforehand, and then I kind of knew of Brayon as well because he also was from
Yeah.
the DC area. So that's one thing I'll say. I think that I may be a little biased, but I think that the DC Maryland area, I think we got some of the best basketball players in the country,
I
and
have to agree with you. Yeah. Go on.
so I mean it's great to be able to play with guys from my area. And aside from that, those are guys I kind of already knew about. I'm still trying to meet different guys on the team and all of that. So yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that. No, I mean, you hit it again right there. I have to agree with you. Our previous coach, Coach Cox, is from the DMV area. He actually coached, I think, at St. John's College High, which I believe is I think it's either in DC or Virginia. Um, but a lot of the past players that we brought in, some of the guys that are still kind of lingering on the roster are from the DMV area. And I mean, the talent is certainly there. So I do agree with you there. And it's good to see that even this new coaching staff, this new, these leaders of this program are still utilizing the DMV area and finding the talent there. But I want to stay on recruiting. We'll jump a little bit more into your prep days and high school career. But, as this is an adjustment period for the program, obviously, again, as we talked about the new head coach, Archie Miller, more players to be brought in by way of the portal. I'm sure high school and AAU recruiting, and then internationally as well. Again, as we've seen with Jeremy Fumina, recently committed from Ontario. I guess what is the best way to enter this situation and develop chemistry on and off the court with your new teammates? It's always interesting, or I'm always interested to see, how guys are able to kind of mold into a team with a new group of guys that, like you said, you're still getting to know. So with a lot of your new teammates, some of Rhode Island's returners, how are you just able to form relationships with them and then also the coaches? And then how do you plan on working around that to sort of fit into this system come next fall?
Well, I mean, for me, I'm the type of person like I'm gonna always be myself. I'm also gonna and who I am really is I like to talk to people. I like to get to know the people I'm gonna be around,
Yeah.
and on the team, these are guys I'm gonna be around like all the time, all the time, all the time. So the way I view it and the way I tag it is, I'm just at the end of the day on the court, obviously on the court is a little bit different off the court because I mean the chemistry comes both ways, but in both aspects, just kind of just talking to guys, getting to know them, getting to know more about them, their backgrounds, and just continue to build a relationship with all the guys that I'm going to be on the team with. And
Yeah.
I think that's kind of how I view it, especially off the court. And then on court, just being observant, being communicating, talking, and just also just one big thing is understanding how different guys react and learn in different ways, and understanding what everybody does well, and we build on our strengths together and build on our weaknesses together.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the biggest thing I've talked to Sebastian Thomas. And I think really chemistry is so important. What I've learned, at least from interviewing a lot of basketball players, it's so important to recognize the athlete that's behind the jersey, but also basketball is such a team sport. So it's not only about, one individual, it's about how the team can click together, the locker room, you know, energy or the morale on the team. And I talked to Sebastian Thomas, as I was saying, um, about kind of, I guess, the performance last year. And he was pretty honest with me. And he said, things weren't always great in the locker room. We were kind of blaming each other and pointing the finger at one another after big losses. And I mean, like you just said right there, communication is key. So I think that will definitely be important. And I'm excited again to see how you guys are able to work with this new coaching staff coming in. Because like you just said, communication is so important. And I feel like the best teams, at least that have succeeded in the month of March that I've seen from college basketball, are the ones that communicate. I can just think back to 2017, 2018, when this program had really good teams. And I've talked to a lot of those guys as well. And they all communicated with each other, and they talked about how, they just wanted to win and they were all in it together. And I know it sounds a little cliche, but I mean, it really does work, because when you point the finger at someone or when you blame someone, that's when things kind of go downhill. But I'm looking forward again with, kind of a fresh start, kind of hitting the restart button, how this coaching staff is able to do. So I'm definitely
Yeah,
excited to hear that answer.
it's kind of like any successful friendship or relationship or 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 team, you got to have communication, because without communication, you're not really going to go that far.
Yeah, absolutely. Said it right, best right there. Big question that I love to ask on this podcast is, what is your why, or what motivates you?
Well, like I said, first and foremost, God, my Lord and Savior. But aside from that, I would say my family. My both my parents have done so much for me and my sister. My sister, who's like my best friend, I could talk about her for like days and weeks, but my family, my parents have done a lot for us. They've sacrificed a lot for us. And a lot of the different things that they've instilled in us have kind of carried my sister and I to where we are today. So my sister is like big in the dance world. She's about to get her master's at 22 years old. After getting her bachelor's in dance and African American studies. And actually, I'm what's it called? She goes to Fordham, so I'll be playing her alma mater, which is
Awesome.
crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, different stuff like that. Like definitely my parents, my family, my sister is a big one. So I would say my parents and my sister is my
Yeah.
definitely why.
For sure. That's awesome. Yeah, no, I mean, something that I've come to learn, especially through this pandemic and everything, is that, family is so important. And I feel like at such a young age in high school and in college, it's so hard to understand that and to realize that. But I was just talking about the other day, because I'm a second semester junior now. I'm thinking about my senior year. But when I go home for the summer, when I, graduate from URI, just family is so important. And you may not have all of your friends right there and beside you, but you always have your family, no matter where you go in your career or anything like that. So I'm glad you touched on that. And, I've asked that question to pretty much all of the guests that I've had on this show, and they pretty much always say family. It's why we do it. It's why we do anything. So, and we wouldn't be here and we wouldn't be the people we are today without them. So it's once again, a great answer. If you could compare your game to any other player, professionally, in the NBA, or maybe another college player, who would that be and why? I've gotten mixed answers with this. Some people have told me that they kind of have their own style of play, and some people grew up watching a certain someone and they try and model themselves after that on the court.
Right. Okay. So for me, I would say it's a couple of different things. My favorite player growing up was Kobe Bryant. So I
Great
think,
answer.
In my opinion, I think I have a couple aspects of his game, especially in terms of like my mid-range ability, my mid-range pull-up, get into my spots and being able to use my athleticism and use my high release to shoot over people. But then aside from that, if I had to say people that in today's game I kind of play like, I would say like a Jimmy Butler or Mikal Bridges,
Okay.
somebody who will go and guard the best player on the other team, but also on the offensive end athletic, versatile, can pass, can score on all three levels. And somebody who really has one of their biggest parts of their game is the energy that they bring on both sides of the court, and the energy that they give to their team, along with kind of being a vocal guy, a vocal leader, while also being able to do a lot of different things very, very well. I think that's how I would describe my game.
Yeah, I love that. Me personally, I love two-way players. I think a great guy to point out is someone that we have on the team right now is going to be a senior next year, Malik Martin. I think he does it right on both ends of the ball. A very acrobatic player when he's driving to the rim, and then on the defensive side of the ball, he will lock in and, like you just said, guard the best player. But the first answer you gave, being Kobe, I love that answer. How do you not love Kobe Bryant, everything like that? I think another guy would be like Kawhi Leonard or someone like that, who, again, are really a two-way player. I think being like a combo guard wing like yourself at 6'7", like that's so important. That's so valuable to the team. And I think we're really going to get a lot out of that next year, because you can pretty much do it all. Like you said, you have a pretty good shot. You can guard, you can defend. You're kind of that vocal leader. Like you said, you're right in the middle. I think a great guy that I think will help you and that you'll work pretty well with, again, is Malik Martin. And next year, I don't know if you've had the chance to communicate with him or talk with him, but I think even Archie Miller was saying in one of the press conferences that he's really going to be the sole leader on this team next year. Right now, I think he's the only senior. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works out.
Yeah.
But next question I have for you, as you mentioned, you're from Upper Marlboro, Maryland. You went to IMG Academy, most recently Long Island Lutheran. As a fellow Long Islander myself, I'm wondering, what went into the decision to do prep school at both IMG and LUHI? Also, what has the recruitment process been like? Obviously, you're committed to Rhode Island right now, but did you have a lot of interest from other schools?
So in terms of the recruiting process, I had offers from Mount St. Mary's University, Memphis, Texas A&M, Mississippi State, Coppin State, and Howard. So those are the 6 offers I had. I had interest from Clemson and Florida State, Marquette, along with a few others. And for me, I mean, the recruiting process was there was a lot that went into it. But like through it all, one, I want to say I'm just thankful for all the coaches that were able to look at me, because I don't know how much people necessarily realize, being able to play basketball at this high level is not an easy thing to do. So it's like hours and hours and hours of work that go into the gym, and different things that you have to do, watching film, recovering, getting in the weight room, all that different stuff goes into it, right? So, it's not necessarily the easiest process, but it's definitely one that you have to go and enjoy it. Go and enjoy every conversation, every visit that you may go on, stuff like that. And that's one thing I definitely try to do going through my recruiting process. I would say for me, it was some twists and turns, because you go and you may think one thing about one school, and then all of a sudden you start talking to another school, or something may happen, and and then especially this year, I know there are some people that may be going through a little bit. I know people that have decommitted because they're the coach at the school that they were committed to got fired, or something along those lines. So the recruiting process was definitely, I think, interesting, not just for me, but for a lot of people. But I mean, like I said before, I think Rhode Island was definitely kind of just like, after my official visit, I had no doubt that it was a perfect fit for me. And then in terms of prep schooling, so when I was looking at schools for my junior year, that was kind of when COVID had started. And we looked at IMG. I went down to IMG, and we thought it was just a really, really good fit for me. I still have good relationships with all the coaches and all my former teammates. I still talk to a lot of my former teammates all the time. Some of them are even from my area. One of my former teammates at IMG, who's also from Maryland, just committed to Maryland. So I go back and forth with him all the time, for example. And then from going to IMG to going to Maryland, from going from IMG to going to Long Island Lutheran, I think a big part of that decision was just wanting to be back around my family my senior year, wanting to be back. I'm here. I live in this apartment with my dad and my mom, and just being back home, being in a family environment, being back around them, but also being able to go somewhere where it's still high academic, it still has high level basketball with high level coaches. That was very ideal for me. So, like I said before, my dad is from up here, and when we started talking about Lehigh, we came and visited, had a great experience, loved the coaches, and it just fit really well.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I'm a Long Islander too, so I love Long Island and everything like that. Some great places, great restaurants there too. I'm sure you've come to realize that from living there. But yeah, once again, we're excited to have you in Rhode Island. We're happy that you chose URI. Just a couple more questions for you. Did you have like a mentor maybe growing up that helped push you along the way, especially during your playing career?
I would say one of my biggest mentors is probably my dad.
Yeah.
My dad he played a little basketball in his high school days, but he was a big tennis player, and he played Division I tennis at GW, actually at George Washington. So, man, this is an A-10 house over here. But so yeah, he kind of, and then going into different things that he's done in the business world and all the successes he's had, and he's also was probably one of, if not my first basketball coach. So he always pushes me. He's always, he'll be the first person to tell me that I did this wrong or that I need to fix this, but he's also the first person that helped pick me up. He's also the first person to show me how to do it right, or show me how to do this, show me how to do that. He will go through film with me. He will go to the gym with me at like 10 o'clock at night, even if he's tired. So somebody like that, that's like, I'm just really blessed to have him in my life and have him be the mentor and type of person that he has been in my life.
Yeah, that's incredible. I love that. Forgot what I was gonna say. Yeah, going off the Atlantic 10, I was gonna point that out. Actually relates to my next question. I mean, how excited are you about playing in the Atlantic 10 conference and going up against schools like GW, Davidson, Dayton, Richmond, VCU, UMass, or Fordham? Some of these really big, I would say mid-tier D1 schools. What are you most excited about going up against them, playing on the home court at Ryan Center?
Yeah, no, I'm really excited. I mean, for me, when you say A-10, I knew exactly what it was beforehand. And I personally think it's one of the more underrated conferences in the country. It always has some of the better programs in the country every single year. Like you said, you have the Rhode Islands, and you have the Daytons, and you have the George Masons, and schools along those lines. It's really, really good competition. So, I'm really excited to get to work and be able to play in front of a bunch of great fans at the Ryan Center. So I think in terms, if we're talking A-10, I think it's some of the best competition in the country.
Absolutely. Just 2 or 3 more questions for you. Through all the experiences that you've had, some that you've touched on already, what is the biggest lesson that you've learned, just from your playing career thus far?
Biggest lesson I've learned.
Maybe something you didn't know going in that you now know.
I would say no matter what you do, have confidence in everything you do. People can talk trash or discourage you as much as they want. Everybody goes through it. But another thing my dad has always taught me is, without confidence, you're twice removed from the game of life, but with confidence, you've already won before you started. So you have to be able to have that confidence and believe in yourself before anybody else does. If you want to get to the places that you want to, because you could name like a million different stories in this world where somebody didn't believe in somebody and they allowed it to use it as fuel and just get to the place that they wanted to get to and that they thought they could get to and then do even more with it. So you have to have confidence in everything you do, even if the odds are against you. Like you have to have the type of attitude that's like, if it's me versus you, I'm picking me every time.
I love that. It's a great piece of advice right there. Just two more questions for you. Going back to your decision to commit real quick to Rhody, what are you most excited about with Archie Miller as your head coach? You sort of touched on it before, but when you got the opportunity to actually talk to him and meet him on your visit, was there something that he established to you maybe that really opened up, your eyes of what kind of individual or what kind of coach he is?
One first thing is he's transparent. Like with Coach Miller, for a fact that 100% you're gonna get straight up what it is. You're gonna get a straight up answer, and that's one really important for me and for my family. I want my coach to be straight with me, even if it's something I want to hear or something I don't want to hear, right? And then we just felt. I mean, first off, we knew exactly who he was when Rhode Island called. Archie Miller. We know that name, so it's like he's had different successes, and I'm just ready to go in every day and be able to ask the different questions and pick his brain and listen to him and improve my game and suck up all the knowledge possible that I can from him because of all the different things that he's been able to do as a coach, all the different players that he's been able to coach, all the different successes that he's had. Just get as much knowledge there as possible, and not just with Coach Miller, but also with the rest of the assistant coaches. That's one thing I think Ryan did a really good job of putting together a great coaching staff going forward for the future. And that's one of the biggest reasons that I decided to come here, because I'm able to be surrounded by a coaching staff that can really, I feel like, help me maximize my abilities going down the road in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I think since he arrived at Rhode Island, he stressed the importance of, attitude, and that you have to carry this attitude with you. We want to win. We're not messing around. We're not playing around. And I really think that's a huge upgrade from what we had. And it really shifts Rhode Island's mentality as a program, going back, is they're really looking to be one of those contenders and be considered a contender again in the Atlantic 10. So I love what he's doing with the program. And again, the way he's recruiting and everything like that. I hope we'll get some more answers soon as the rest of the recruitment plays out and the rest of the roster fills out. But yeah, no, I love what he's doing, and I'm again excited for what he can do this fall. It certainly will be exciting. So the last question I have for you is just, what do you think you can bring to this Rams roster? I'm sure there's some Rhody fans watching this, maybe at home. Just tell them why they should be excited about your arrival, and give them a message. I know I certainly am excited. So what can you give certain people watching at home?
I mean, for one, offensively, like I kind of touched on a little bit before, I can score on all three levels. I'm very skilled as a player. I didn't used to always be as tall as I was. I used to be a little shorter when I was younger. So I had to develop those guard skills when I was younger. So growing up, I have those guard skills. I'm very skilled. I can score on all three levels. I can facilitate, and defensively, I mean, I'm a dog. That's my mindset. Like the guy in front of me, he's not scoring the ball. But then aside from that, I I think I'm a good teammate. I bring leadership, and I bring energy not just to myself but to everybody. And I mean, I'm also very versatile. As a player, I'm athletic. I'm a big guard. I think that, I bring a lot of different pieces that we could use, not only this year, but in the coming years as well. And, that I think those are also some of the reasons that Coach Miller decided to bring me on: my versatility, my athleticism, my basketball IQ as well, along with my skill and my ability to shoot as well as I can. So, I think those are some things to be excited about. And, I'm just ready to get on campus.
That's it right there. That's a great answer. We're excited to have you. I'm going to be a senior next year, so I'm hoping we can get back to the A-10s in Brooklyn next year. It's right in our backyard.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can get it and get back to where we once were, but I am confident that things will start to move forward. But thank you again, for taking the time. I'm looking forward to seeing you on campus in the fall. And best of luck with everything you're doing. Best of luck with graduation, the rest of high school, and everything like that. And of course, go Rhody.
Go Rhody. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.